Hello and welcome, dear students. Today we are going to begin the first lesson of English literature from your book Treasure Trove. Chief Seattle's speech. Dear students, before I begin with the explanation or before I begin with the lesson, I would like to discuss with you the background of this lesson. That would be more interesting and easier for us to understand that in a proper way, and we can visualize this. Okay, not only that, we will visualize this happening. Okay, so first of all, before the speech, Seattle is the chief city of the state of Washington, United States of America in modern world or in modern United States. It is it is means Seattle. This is one of the largest and the most affluent urban centers in the United States of America. In modern America, this city is a gateway, air and sea gateway to Asia and Alaska. So we understand that this is one of the most prominent business centers or the trade centers in the United States of America, right? Okay, it's a very important city. And its location, it lies in the northern Pacific Ocean. More than that is not required. Okay. Now, about this speech. This speech, dear students, was in response to the American government land treaty to buy the native lands proposed by Isaac Stevens, the then governor of Washington Territory. Okay, now what was the land treaty? That is something you need to explore, you need to case study that. Okay. Now, what about this speech? What is the importance of this speech? Okay, this speech or the speech of Chief Seattle. Why Chief Seattle? Because Seattle is the city, and chief, actually this person was the chief of his tribe. That was which dynasty, that tribe was that? It is mentioned there. Just now I will read it out to you. Two tribes were there, and he was a very strong chief of his tribe. Okay, so this speech is considered one of the most effective or one of the most popular or influential speech ever delivered by any world citizen or world or prominent leader. Right. Now, let us understand some more features of this speech. I have written on the board for you to understand. Dear students, this speech is a plea for respect of Native American rights and environmental values. Now, plea, you understand? Plea is an urge, it's a request for the respect of Native American rights. We need to understand, I take for granted that you understand the meaning of Native American, the original inhabitants of America. Which are the people ruling in America today? That is something you need to explore and let me know. Okay, through the YouTube link, you tell me. Okay, who are the people? Are they the original Americans who are ruling in America now? Okay. So this was a plea for respect of Native American rights and environmental values. Now, environmental term you need to understand. Any confusion? Please do ask me. This speech can be considered a plea, an urge, or a request against the white people's imperialistic attitude. Now, white people. Who are the white people? White people refers to the European, particularly the English people who ruled most countries of the world. Even we were enslaved by them at least for 200 years, right now. So white people refers to the European or the English people, and imperialistic, I take for granted that you understand. Imperialistic, you understand the policy of expansionist is the right word, no? The policy of expansionist, okay. More you should explore. Any confusion, please do ask. Okay. Now, what more? This speech can be considered a concern for degradation and ecological balance. Now, degradation is a very common word, okay, and ecological balance. This speech can also be considered as warning against the rapid progress and Western civilization. Dear students, what is the meaning of rapid progress? Rapid progress, two types of progresses or developments are there. One is that rapid progress, and the second, the opposite of this, is sustained development. In sustained development, you need to go through the difference between the two. That's enough for this lesson, okay? And Western civilization, I don't mean the fashion of Western civilization. I don't mean that. Western civilization here means that they have the Western civilization, the development of Western civilization, the progress of Western civilization is done at the cost of the nature itself. They have least concern for nature, right? No. Okay, so in that context, we need to understand. And this speech is a need to protect nature. Okay, so I think this is enough to. It can work as a catalyst to start the lesson. Okay, shall I begin? Okay. Pankaj sir is there sitting with me. He is my inspiration. Okay, and with his cooperation I am beginning. Okay, thank you very much. This is my first class in class 9. Okay, so I shall begin. Okay, so I will read and then begin. There will be more than one videos here. Okay, Chief Seattle's speech. Authentic text of Chief Seattle's Treaty Oration 1854. You understand oration, the speech which was delivered. Now, this book or this lesson claims that this is an authentic text of Chief Seattle's treaty. Do you think so? I don't know, it is claimed here. Actually, I may not of the same opinion. Anyway, that is not something that we should discuss. One thing I would like to clarify here, dear students, that the speech which was delivered by Chief Seattle was not in English, right? No, it was in his native language, the language which was spoken by his tribe, right? Okay, I forgot to read the thing notes which is given in the book, so let me read that. No, that we will find. Okay. Chief Seattle was a Native American chief that I have already discussed with you. He was a Native American chief. Native American, you understand, the original inhabitants of America, the tribe, okay, a member of the Suquamish tribe. In India also so many tribes are there, like Adivasis are one of them, then Santals are there, then others are there, no? Okay, so, and a prominent figure among his people who pursued a path of accommodation and reconciliation with white settlers. Now, dear students, I would like to write the word settlers here. It's important word. I should write it here. Settler. S-E-T-T-L-E-R-S. In order to understand this lesson in a proper way, you need to understand the meaning of settlers. Okay, I'm not going to go in detail. No. Now, who are the settlers? who are settling in different parts of the world. Actually, shall I go in detail? Settlers are the people, suppose some people from outside the country come here and then they settle down here. To the extent that they settle down here, it's fine, but when they deprive us of our place and then they settle down, so that is called that they are imperialistic in nature. Okay, more than that, actually I will deviate from the point. No, okay. So they were the white settlers. The following is a widely publicized speech attributed to Chief Seattle in which he argues with gentle irony. Okay, when we go through the speech, we will find the minute details of their speech, the way, the language of the speech. When I say language, I don't mean English language or Persian language. I mean the way it is presented. It is not presented, though he might not be educated, no, but the way he delivered speech, that was so effective. Okay, so that we will study. So it is with gentle irony in favor of ecological responsibility and respect of Native American beliefs. So this was in favor of ecological responsibility, the responsibility which every inhabitant of this earth should have, and respect of Native American beliefs, traditions and land rights. Okay. Although what he actually said many may have been lost through translation and rewriting the speech or letter attributed to Chief Seattle, has been widely cited as a powerful, bitter, sweet. So dear students, as I said right now that it may not be the authentic text, or even if it is authentic text, when you translate a thing, you cannot exactly bring all the emotions and values cannot be contained in the translation. So that happened, okay. And it is very powerful. It is bittersweet. It is called because it speaks something, and at the same time it is a contradictory as well. When we go through, we will understand it more. Okay. Now I should begin the speech in his words. Yonder sky that has wept tears of compassion upon my people for centuries untold, and which to us appears changeless and eternal, may change. Today is fair, tomorrow it may be overcast with clouds. My words are like the stars that never change. Whatever Seattle says, the great chief at Washington can rely upon with as much certainty as he can upon the return of the sun or the seasons. The white chief says that big chief at Washington sends us greetings of friendship and goodwill. This is kind of him. So this is something I need to go through word wise. So here begins his speech. So the main points of these words. There, the sky has wept tears of compassion upon my people. Dear students, tribal people are known for their love for nature. They treat trees, forests, and all the living organisms in that, the biggest or the smallest, as their own family members. Okay, So this is what their bond with nature is really something we cannot imagine. That is beyond our imagination. So he means to say that actually they consider themselves as part of the nature. Okay. And their ways are traditional. You know, nature has given us everything in abundance to sustain our life. We grow crops, we get water from nature. That is enough for a man to live. What do we need? We need food and water. These two basic things are there that we need, and this is what the native people are known for. Okay. To them, their life never changes. It remains for centuries. Now the world is changing very fast. Okay, but for the tribal people, for these people, for centuries they have been living the same way in the lap of the nature, and they have been worshipping. Even in India, you will see the majority of the people worshipping the nature. No, the trees are there, the moon is there, or the sky is there, or the sun is there, or the rivers are there, the stone is there. The very part of nature they have been worshipping for centuries. They are inseparable part of nature. This is what he tries to emphasize. But do you think the white settlers, the Europeans, attach or they have the same values? No, they do not have the same values. Okay, so he says actually at this point or at this juncture, the settlers from European countries or the English people have arrived at this place, and they want to expand. No, expand is fine. No, they want to expand their territory. They want to develop this place. And how do we develop? How the civilization comes? They will cut down the trees, they will deforest, okay, the animals will be killed, and then they will bring about development, and it will be center of trade and commerce, or commerce and trade. Okay, so chief Seattle is very concerned about this, that soon nothing will be there, the nature will be destroyed. Okay, but the government, okay, wants to acquire that jungle or the place, that forest, and that is not only for the settlers or for the government. It can be just a piece of land which can be developed into business center, but for the tribal people it is their home. So how can one let easily one's home go? No, it cannot happen. Okay, so my words are like the stars that never change. He means to say here, today is fair, tomorrow it may be overcast with clouds. As of now, he said, it's fine with the nature, no damage has been done. But who knows tomorrow, after the white settlers settle down here and we are driven out from our own place of inhabitants. My words are like the stars that never change. Here these words reflect his honesty, his truthfulness. Of course, we know that people who are not civilized like us, not very educated, living in the jungle, they are truthful people, they are sincere and truthful people, they don't lie. So whatever they say, they mean that. Not like us, we say something and we mean something else. Okay, now whatever Seattle says, the great chief at Washington can rely upon with as much. These words mean that even the enemy trusts the words of Chief Seattle or the chief of Seattle, because he never lies. He never lies. He can be cruel, but he never lies. Okay, so trust, it has to be there. Okay, so the white chief says that big chief at Washington So white chief here refers to the governor, no, or maybe any official. That is something we don't need to discuss. That the chief at Washington. So chief of Washington here, it means that the government, the government. Okay, the Washington is the seat of the governance there. Okay, sends us greetings of friendship and goodwill. Now, dear student, what do you think when Chief of Seattle says that the chief at Washington? Remember, don't get confused with chief is there and chief is there. Chief at Washington means the government, the white people who have come here, they are the settlers. Okay, so they have sent greetings and friendship. What do you think? Will you consider them as greeting, those words as greetings and friendship? What do you think? I don't think. This is irony. This is irony. In fact, when Chief Seattle or the Chief of Seattle says that the Chief at Washington has sent us greetings and friendship, it is like a irony. He doesn't mean that when he says that. It is a kind of satire, satire, satire. Now you need to understand what satire is. It means to, it should be taken as a satire. Okay. How can somebody come from outside and drive you out of your home and be your friend? Okay. So this is the beauty of speech here. This is kind of him, for we know he has little need of our friendship in return. When you do not have any option, this is always kind of your enemy. Any compromise that he offers to you, okay? Because there is, and when he says they don't need our friendship, when the Britishers came to India, we had to abide by their orders. We didn't have any option. Either we abide by the options, the order, or they will impose it on us. So since those tribal people, they didn't have any option, he says here that they don't need our friendship. Even if we don't agree, they have the military, they have the forces, they will occupy the area and we will be driven out. Either there will be compromise or treaty, or they will be driven out, force will be used against us. His people are many. When he says his people are many, it means, it makes his point stronger. His people are many. Why? In what way his people are many? Why? Because his people are there in different parts of the world. Because it is the Britishers who rule different parts of the world. So his people are many, and many here means that is strength-wise. Okay, and they are organized. They are like the grass that covers covers vast prairies. So prairies, you know that the Greenland in America and Canada and all. Okay, so I don't need to explain that. Okay, so they are so many. They are scattered in different parts of the world and ruling everywhere. My people are few. Very few tribal people are there because they are shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And the white settlers, as the white settlers are coming, they are shrinking. They are shrinking. Their population is also shrinking. No. They resemble the scattering trees of a storm-swept plain. He conveys the same idea now. Okay. The great and I presume good. Great. The chief at Seattle. Great. He is great. This is also satire because somebody who drives you out of your home cannot be great. But here he says, so this is irony, no? Okay. And when he says, I presume good, he is great, and I think he is good also. But he doesn't mean when he says great and good. Okay. It is the power of his speech. White chief sends us word that he wishes to buy our land, but is willing to allow us enough to live comfortably. He wants to buy our land. Now, dear students, what if the tribal people refuse to sell their land? They will occupy it. So, it is no kind of, because any kind of agreement can be between two equal people. Okay, right. But he will allow the government will allow us to live comfortably. Okay. Now the time can only tell whether they will be allowed to live comfortably, or by now you are able to understand what happens to the original inhabitants of Australia, or what happened to the original inhabitants of South Africa. They have been marginalized, and in some of the countries they have disappeared from the land itself. No. So how it happened? This indeed appears just, even generous. Do you think it is just? He doesn't mean that again when he says it is just, but it is just a way of speaking. He is generous. In what way can you be generous by occupying somebody's or trespassing somebody's properties, or illegally taking somebody's property? So one can't be generous. It doesn't mean generous. It is used for a chief of Seattle. Okay, in a contradictory way it is used here. Okay, as a satire. For the red man no longer has rights that he need respect, and the offer may be wise. Also, as we are no longer in need for an extensive country. Dear students, here red man refers to the original inhabitants of America here. Here the place of Seattle, okay, city of Seattle. They are the original inhabitants. Okay, so he means to say here that we, the tribal people, the original people, don't have any rights. We don't need any rights. Do you think we don't need any rights? But because we are not going to, means we are not in a position to get any rights. Okay, human rights, no. You are born as a human, you have got some rights. Okay, but when the Britishers came, they enslaved us and then they made us second-class citizens. So in our own country we were enslaved, right? In the same way it is going to happen to the tribal people, that soon we will not have any rights. We don't need rights, we don't need respect. Do you think he means to convey the same message when he says that we the tribal people don't need respect? Who will not need respect? Everybody will need respect. Okay, but here he knows, because he can predict, he can see what you cannot see, because he is a leader. Soon the tribal people will not be respected in their own homeland, in their own place where they have been living, their forefathers have been living for centuries. Next paragraph. There was a time when our people covered the land as the waves of wind-ruffled sea over its shell-paved floor, but that time long since passed away with the greatness of tribes that are now but a mournful memory. I'll not dwell on, nor mourn over our untimely decay, nor reproach my pale-faced brothers with hastening it, as we too may have been somewhat to blame. Dear students, in this paragraph, the chief Seattle, or the chief of Seattle, reflects upon the glorious days of his tribe, when they lived very peacefully before the sea route was discovered by the Europeans, and then the settlers started coming down to their place to disturb their forests, their homeland, and making things very, very difficult and challenge their very existence. So he reflects upon his the golden days of his tribe. He says, there was a time when our people covered the land as the waves of wind-ruffled sea. So now, at this time, when the chief Seattle is delivering the speech, he addresses his people that now we have become very less. We are very few in numbers. Our number has decreased alarmingly, and our very existence is challenged. there was a time everywhere we lived. We lived everywhere, on the mountains, near the sea, in every part of the forests, we could be traced. But that time has passed now, so that was the great. And one more thing, the tribal people, their great traditions of mingling with nature, okay, being one with nature, is something that can never be forgotten by them, and the white can never understand that. No, okay. That long since passed away with the greatness of tribe, that are now but a mournful memory only of that greatness. Only the memory is left, and we can only cry over that. We can only mourn the sufferings, the loss of our people. Let me tell you, dear student, that these tribal people were they have been struggling for many years, not only against the white settlers but also against some other tribes, because a war has been there always with them. No, so in order to protect their women and children, they had been fighting constantly. Yes, they have been fighting constantly. Something that we may read as the story progresses, as the speech progresses. I will not dwell on nor mourn over. He means to say that is it fruitful? Is it of any use when we mourn over that? Something that is not in our control, something which is not in our control. We cannot change the past or the result what has happened. We are not in a position to change now that the white settlers have come. Okay, so we do not have any option. Okay. Our untimely decay. So, dear students, decay here is the fall of the tribe. Fall of the tribe. When you read history, you come to know different dynasties were there. There was a rise and fall of some dynasty. So, it was in that sense that there was a time, it was a glorious time for the Suquamish tribe, and now it is the fall. The fall means the downfall, no? The downfall of the tribe. Okay. So untimely decay. Untimely decay means, see, when a tribe or when any nation, when any generation, when any dynasty has rise, it will have downfall, but there is time for that. This is, he calls, untimely decay. Nor reproach my pale-faced brothers with hastening it, as we too may have been somewhat to blame. Here, he doesn't shift the blame completely on the white people who have come down there to settle down and depriving, means they are all set to deprive our people of our own rights that we have been enjoying for centuries. Our forefathers have been living here, and now we are going to be driven out. So not only they are to be blamed, but we are also to be blamed for that. Now this is a very crucial juncture, dear students. In the introduction I have taken too much time. It was needed, in fact, here. Now is the climax. Now after this paragraph will begin the climax of the speech. Why Chief Seattle, or the Chief of Seattle, not only blames his opponents, the white settlers or the Britishers or the European people, but he says that we people, okay, we are also to blame for our downfall. Now, in what way we people or the Suquamish tribe or the tribe of the Seattle, they are to be blamed, we will come to know as the story progresses. A number of things are there that they did. They could have avoided those things in order to remain strong. I feel like, because I'm not in a position to digest that thing, the things that they did, but I just want to let it remain, okay, and that will be revealed later on. Thank you very much, and wait for the next video. Thank you very much. God bless you all.